Hey guys, welcome in. It's a MonkieMar. Before we get into this video, please make sure you click the like, the subscribe, and the bell for notifications. Some of the scariest people make this world go around and round. Human remains found in suitcases, one at an auction, were those of two young children, New Zealand police say. I had mentioned this article a couple of weeks ago in a Discord. I have decided to touch on it, somewhat of an off the beaten path video. But with that, guys, let's get into it. Could you imagine? A homicide investigation is underway in New Zealand after a family found the remains of two children inside suitcases they bought from a storage facility in an online auction. The family alerted police to the discovery last week after finding remains inside the suitcases. New Zealand police characterized the find as extremely upsetting. You think so? It's not upsetting, it's extremely disturbing. They go on to tell you that the family that bought the auction storage unit has nothing to do with the babies that were found in the suitcase. They say that from the size of the children at this time, they seem to have been in elementary school. And then it also says that the early indications suggest these children may have been deceased for a number of years before being found last week, said Detective Inspector. I am not even going to try that name. I'm going to call him TFV, said. So, couple buys an online storage unit. They start going through all the things that they won. They open up two suitcases, and inside are two children's bodies. Probably skeletons, but can you imagine? Let's continue. So now, of course, an investigation is launched. They're like, who are the parents to these children? The father of these children actually died of cancer in 2017. So now they feel they have found the mother, a woman hiding in South Korea, arrested after children's bodies found in suitcases in New Zealand, which the storage unit tied them back to the deceased father and then the wife. The children were found in Auckland, in New Zealand. Police launched the homicide inquiry weeks after the remains were found by a family going through the contents of the storage locker they had purchased unseen. The children were probably between 5 and 10 years old and had been dead for some time. The suitcases had been in storage for some time, they added, without providing details. So the Detective Inspector TFV told reporters the children had yet to be formally identified and believed they had a family in New Zealand. And to think that they say that their parents or family members may have not have known that the children were deceased, and also not giving any details how they died or whether there were any suspects. So is this woman going to try to say that the husband did this, or were they both involved? Was she just involved? Like, who does this? I mean, complete psychopaths, sociopaths. I don't know what they are, but just unbelievable. And then we get into a suspected mom whose two kids are found dead in suitcases sought in Korea. So they tracked the mother back to South Korea, and she is believed to be the mother of the two children whose bodies were discovered inside suitcases bought at a storage unit auction in New Zealand this month, is being sought in South Korea. The woman, a Korean-born citizen of New Zealand, arrived in South Korea in 2018 and has no record of leaving since, a police officer said. Her whereabouts and whether she arrived in South Korea with other relatives were not immediately known. She has not been named as of Tuesday. So she rented the storage unit. I mean, did you forget that you had your children inside that unit in suitcases, or did you not think that anybody was going to go through them, or what? Because how do you put your kids in a suitcase and just store them in a storage unit? Or, like I said earlier, is she going to blame the husband? So at this point, the couple buys the storage unit in Auckland, in New Zealand. They get home. They find 2 suitcases, and in those suitcases, each is a child's body. They call the police. The police open an investigation. They find out who owned the storage unit. The South Korean police at that time, though, did not open the investigation, but they were cooperating with the New Zealand authorities through Interpol. If the woman, they say, is clearly identified as a suspect, an arrest warrant is received. There is a high possibility, though, that Interpol read notice. We will then proceed with the extradition process. An official from the Foreign Affairs Bureau of the National Police Agency told reporters in Seoul, according to South Korea's newspaper. And the bottom bust of figuring out if this woman is possibly the children were the fact that the South Korean news station spoke about records indicating the woman lived in New Zealand at an address tied to the suitcases for an extended period of time. And considering her age and the children's age, they definitely think that she could possibly be the mother of these children that were found. A month and 3 days to when the New Zealand police officers opened the investigation after finding the suitcases in Auckland, New Zealand, woman arrested in South Korea over alleged murder of 2 children found in suitcases in New Zealand. So now the police in Auckland are requesting the extradition of a 42-year-old woman to face 2 charges of murder. I wonder if they'll be able to get DNA off of those babies' bodies, considering that they've been in the suitcase between 3 to 4 years. And to think that there was still that putrid smell. I can't imagine. Some people that do these jobs, you have to give a big praise to, because I personally, I couldn't do it. I can't even kill a bug. And now that she has been arrested, the New Zealand police are requesting the arrest warrant for the woman under the country's extradition treaty with South Korea, and have applied to have the woman extradited back to New Zealand to face charges. And then South Korea told New Zealand that the woman had been arrested at 1 a.m. in an apartment in Ulsan City. The unidentified woman covered her face with the hood of her coat as officers escorted her outside an Ulsan police station and put her in a car headed for the capital of Seoul. And then now she will undergo a review at the Seoul High Court whether she should be extradited, said Park Seong-hoon, an official at the National Police Agency. Park said a date hadn't yet been set, but the review must take place within 2 months. Let me go see if that is actually the latest update, or if this unidentified suitcase baby stuffer is on her way to New Zealand, or if she is in New Zealand.
After weeks of silence from New Zealand police over the status of a homicide investigation into the remains of 2 children found in suitcases in South Auckland, a 42-year-old woman was last night arrested in Korea. Seoul's National Police Agency yesterday confirmed the woman had been arrested in the city of Ulsan, charged with murdering her 2 children, aged 7 and 10, in 2018 in the Auckland area. New Zealand police are seeking to extradite the woman through the Korean courts. As the 42-year-old was yesterday leaving Ulsan Police Station to be transported to Seoul, ushered by authorities, she was photographed with a hooded jacket pulled over her face. The woman repeatedly said, "I didn't do it," Korean outlet Yonhap News reported. New Zealand police announced Thursday morning the woman had been arrested after they requested an arrest warrant be issued by the Korean courts for the woman under the extradition treaty. The homicide investigation was launched after the remains of 2 primary school-aged children were uncovered on August 11 in suitcases bought by the occupants of a property on Moncrief Avenue, Manuera. The suitcases were bought by the Manuera residents unwittingly as part of an online auction for an abandoned storage unit. New Zealand police later confirmed the bodies of the children in the suitcases had likely been stored in the Papatoetoe Safe Store storage facility for 3 to 4 years before being discovered. The woman now remains in custody in South Korea and will undergo a review at the Seoul High Court over whether she should be extradited.
When this baby girl fell 30 feet, she hit her head just right and...
Alright, so that does it for this woman. She claims that she did not commit the crimes, and as soon as they reveal her identity, I will go ahead and post that in a community post. But as far as the update for this story, I think that is it for right now. But that's it, guys. It is a wrap. Everyone stay safe. Keep your baby safe and stay vigilant. I am out.